right. Let's start by talking about capacity.
Absolutely.
You were here last year. Was it last year?
Yeah, last year Wisdom Conference.
Wisdom Conference 2.0. But even in the morning service, you did a lot on capacity. In the evening, you mesmerized us with capacity. I would not forget something you said. You said a 10 kVA generator cannot do what a 50 kVA generator can do. I was impressed, but later I was thinking, but the 10 kVA generator was designed to be a 10 kVA generator.
Exactly.
There's nothing it can do to become a 50 kVA generator.
Exactly.
So the 10 kVA generator is fixed. His destiny fixed. My question is, are people like that? And then when it comes to people, what is capacity?
All right. So maybe if I start by defining what capacity means, and I'm just going to make it as conversational as possible.
Yeah.
Right? Capacity is actually the potential, the ability, if we use a container for instance, to either contain something or produce something. So the extent to which a container can hold something or release something. So power generating set, for instance, will be able, like you said, 10 kVA was designed to produce electricity to the extent of 10 kVA.
Yeah.
And if it's 100 kVA, the same thing, that's the design. So that becomes the capacity of that machine.
Yeah.
In terms of human beings, right, we are designed to produce much more than we actually produce.
Okay.
And we are designed to contain much more than we actually contain. But depending on our state of mind, we find ourselves in a place where it looks like we have a fixed design. And until we realize our true capacity and then build that capacity, our 100 kVA generator mindset can continue to produce 10 kVA.
Are you saying the average person has more than they are doing? You see, but how do I measure? How do I know my capacity? How do I know that I am 100 kVA performing at 10 kVA?
Absolutely. And I think the easiest way to run at it will be to say every human being can do everything that every other human being can do. So if you look at the cranial size, that's the size of the frame of the brain, there was a time when people say if your brain is big, you can do much more. And then at the time they say, okay, if your brain is big to an extent commensurate to your other parts of the body, then you can do this much. But of course, you start talking about the likes of elephants. They need to be smarter than humans because their heads are bigger, right? And if you have big heads, you should have big brain, right? But the reality is, if you see what another human being is doing in their own field, and I like to just highlight that, to say in their own field.
So capacity is different from field.
It's different from field to field. So let's put it from this, let's use from this perspective. Now, there are people designed, okay, let me use generator, right? So there are power generating machines. There are water pumping machines, right? Now, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an engineer, but the same system that pump water, right, uses perhaps mechanical energy to pump water. And the same thing, the power generating set, a lot of them use mechanical energy also to generate electricity. But in terms of the output and how they provide that output, a water generating set will only be able to pump water.
Okay.
A electricity generating set will only be able to generate electricity. The confusion comes where the water pumping machine is trying to generate electricity. Something's going to go wrong somewhere. So if I look at someone who is so strong as an entertainer, as a musician, I am not a musician. He or she has built capacity in the area of singing and they are very good. All I need to do is to find my own area. It's in my area I can build sufficient capacity. And although they sing powerfully, I can't talk powerfully.
Okay.
So the first step is actually to say that you need to find your space. You need to find your strength before you start building capacity.
Right. I have a question here that I think will take us further. This person is saying, can you tell us about your first big break from a 10 kVA mindset to a 100 kVA mindset, and what actual actions, I want to believe, you can share?
Okay, I'm trying to remember the first one. But the only thing that comes to mind now, I'm not very sure if it's the first or not, but it's one of the early ones, is, so I had a mentor who had a personal development school, and I was the MC, and on this particular day, was running late for the session, and I was asked to stand in, and he told me, just continue till I come, occupy till I come. And I did everything I could do. Of course, when you hear MC, the first thing that comes to your mind is you want to crack jokes. I did that, I tried that. It didn't really work. I'm not very good at cracking jokes. Then I realized that I actually needed to engage these people. So I started talking. And I found myself inspiring people. Well, there were a number of nodders in the room, and they were nodding, which means I was actually probably very stupid, or they were understanding something, but they continued to nod. So I felt, okay, fine, there's something I'm saying here. But I wasn't very confident in what I was saying. What I was saying to me was still very shallow. So you can consider me, I fit myself into 10 kVA based on what I know, based on the content that I have. Now, it went good to an extent, and then I was asked after then to come do a proper presentation. So I had enough time to prepare. I knew immediately I cannot go back there with the same mindset with which I went the first time. It will not be excused. So I started reading, studying. I got more depth, and I could present better. So I would say that was actually my first realization. And the second time I went there to present, even me, I felt better. This time, I was saying things that I could prove. This time, I was saying things I've researched. This time, I was saying things I knew. The first time, I was just talking for the sake of talking. The second time, I could authenticate the things I've said.
Okay.
So there's been a shift in my mind. And the true measure of shift is not in what you think you have in your mind. It's in the qualities of the things you bring out.
Okay. This person says, if everyone can do what the other person can do, how does talent or gifts come in?
Okay, so maybe I should say that again. Everyone can do everything other people can do in their own way. Just to put it in context.
In their field.
In their field.
So it's my gifts that determines my field.
Actually, so if I put it this way, okay, let's start from purpose and what you're drawn to. Let's talk about your strength, the way you're wired to navigate life, your personalities, right? So pretty much, I will have a strength. And I can find my strength by knowing the things I've done, the acronym SIGN, things I have success at doing, things I instinctively look forward to doing, things I grow at when I do them, and things that meet the needs of people. So those are indications of what my strengths could be. Now, in that field, my gift will support my field. My personality will support my field. So if I'm a singer, and my personality is more of an introspective person, I probably sing slow song more, and I make people think more. If I'm a singer and I'm an outgoing person, an energetic person, I probably entertain more, because then I'm jumping and shouting everywhere, because it's fitting my personality. Now, where I'm going to is to say that if you want to build capacity in your area. There are general capacities we need to have. So if you probably read the last report by World Economic Forum, they came up with 10 competencies we need to have for the future. They had some for 2015, and they have new one for 2020. But you can further break some of those competencies down to say there are personal skills everyone needs to have. Okay. Integrity, problem solving, and all that. So you need to build capacity in general terms. There are everyday skills, depending on your function, on your role, depending on where you live. And then there are technical skills depending on your job. But you see, there are future skills as well that run across everything. So everyday personal skills everyone needs to have. But when it comes to your technical skills, when it comes to your future skills, it relates more to you and your field. So the part I'm talking about now is to say build capacity in your area. So I will not be working hard to be a good singer, right? It is not my strength.
Okay.
I will not be working hard to be a good actor. It's not my strength. I promise you, I work every day on my speaking. Every single day. I build capacity in the area of my speaking.
If I get you correctly, there's nothing anybody in my field can do
That I cannot
do. Not there's nothing anybody can do that I cannot do.
Exactly.
Because I might not be gifted
to do those things.
To do what the other person is doing.
Exactly.
In other words, it's a waste of time to build capacity in an area where I am not strong.
And then I know people will debate this. I'll say yes.
Okay.
Nobody has been known for things they are weak at. People are celebrated for their strengths.
The question now is, how do I discover my strengths?
Okay. And maybe to answer the question, let me define what strength means in this context. So what people often use as strengths are words. So if you write your CV, you go, my strength is interpersonal relationship skills, is this. Those are actually not strengths. The real strengths are activities you are very strong at doing. And how do you know you're strong at them? Is the way they make you feel before, during, and after you've done them. So, if I sing, and I can sing, how do I feel sing before I sing, when I'm singing, and after I sang the song? Is a true test of whether it's my strength or not. I look forward to speaking. See, it's your strength when it's not dependent on people to validate you before you feel excited about it. I don't wait for people to say, yeah, you spoke well, before I know I spoke well. That is an indication of a strength. As a matter of fact, if you look forward to singing, and you sing powerfully in your own definition, and then after you're done, you're very excited, it's an indication that that's your strength.
Okay. I don't know why the more we try to answer the questions, it looks like we're digging deeper. Now, I feel like it's not possible for me to know my strength if I am not emotionally healthy. You see, because we've seen some reality shows, especially the musical ones, and somebody who comes to attend the auditioning, and everybody but this person knows singing is not your thing. So, I mean, when you're talking about strengths, how I feel before, during, and after, I have met people who quack like a duck and feel like Beyonce.
And you know, I'll probably just take their side. Yeah, because a lot of people don't take their side. And I've watched some of those shows before where the panelists would tear them apart. Strength is, if there's a formula for strength, right? Strength is equal to talent plus knowledge plus skill. Now, what we call talent, a lot of times on those shows, is not talent. We are describing skills.
Okay.
We're describing skills.
Okay.
So you want people that are already good to go through. Whereas, that is not what you're looking at. If you say it's talent, all you need to know is what makes someone talented. The boldness they have to say, I can sing. The fact that they can stand and sing, whether they are singing nonsense or not. The fact that when they are leaving, they are still confused why you told them they can't sing. Is an indication of a talent.
But wait, before you clap, wait. Before you clap.
I'm going somewhere.
Because, you know, the reality shows we can excuse.
Yes.
See, some of these things happen real life. I know some of us we have cousins, we have units, members in our units. Now, for the reality show, you tell them to go away and they go. Sometimes we have people who are not willing to go.
And you can't chase them away.
You can't chase them, and they're making life miserable for every other person.
Or you tell them to go and they refuse to go.
Yeah.
All right. So where I'm going to, so remember the formula is talent, right?
Okay.
A lot of times, the reason they can't sing is because they don't know how to sing. So remember the formula is strength equal to talent plus knowledge plus skill. You know what they would then need to do, or what you can do for them? Help them know how to sing.
Okay, so somebody sent in a question.
Okay.
Said the Bible says that we should not pour new wine into old wineskins. whose responsibility is it to change the wineskin?
Actually, your development responsibility is your personal responsibility. First of all, it's the person. You want to grow, it is your business. It's your cup of tea.
On how do I, what's the probability, if you can put it in figures? So let's assume that the person's willingness and their level of responsibility on a scale of 1 to 10, okay, what would it be before my own contribution? Because you have told us they don't know how and they don't have skill. I want to take responsibility for training this person. I want you to put numbers to it. What is the person going to bring to the table that makes my contribution worth it?
I would say intense desire to learn. Okay. It has to be. So if it's 1 to 10, the person must actually be at a 9 before I can take them on. Because, see, and I coach people, right? If I coach people, when I coach people and they come first session, second session, you don't see them anymore, I don't chase them. You're not serious. If you're really serious and you have intense desire to learn, you will learn. Now, where I'm going to is to say also that when people want to change, they are the first person to say, I want to change. It is not another person's responsibility to force them to change because you can't change anybody. In fact, I use this as an example all the time. On the plane, and I know, you know, when the plane's about to take off, there's always this commentary that they run. One of them is, if there's a sudden, safety checks, right? If there's a sudden reduction in pressure, an oxygen mask will withdraw from the cabin above your head, pull sharply on it, the action of pulling will release the flow of oxygen. They will tell you, fix your own first before helping someone else. It's someone that is helped that can help people. So the point is, if the individual is not taking personal responsibility, you can't really help them. If there's anything we can do, we need to start hammering and showing and teaching and reminding people to take personal responsibility. Because for your strength to become, for your talent to really, really become strength, you need to gain that knowledge and gain the skill. And there's only one way you can gain skills. Practice, practice, practice. Give that guy who cannot sing in that space, who believes he can sing, opportunity to learn how to sing, and he practices before he shows up, he's going to sing well. The guys that we pick, they sing their best songs.
Yeah.
They pick a song, they rehearse it very well, and they show up. The other guys, I don't know what they do.
How do you come about the songs?
But that's fine.
Okay. There's an interesting question here. This person says, in this age when people are moving to UK, US, Canada, South Africa to achieve their potential, do you think that staying in Nigeria is unambitious? Is it a good argument to relocate so we can attain our potential?
It's very tricky because I don't live in Nigeria, but that's fine. So I didn't move to Nigeria to attain my potential. I tell people a lizard in Nigeria cannot be a crocodile in London. It's just the way it is. Someone like me was hired by my organization from Nigeria, so I didn't go there for greener pasture. However,
okay, wait, slow down.
Okay.
Because I want us to get that.
Okay.
So you started in Nigeria.
Exactly.
You worked in Nigeria.
Exactly.
And because I want you to let us understand that the parent organization asked for that guy that happens to be working in Nigeria to come and do internationally what he's doing
at
locally.
The country level. Exactly.
Not, there's nothing here. I'm going there to look for my opportunity.
No.
Okay.
In fact, the way the statement was made is you are not a country talent only. You are a continent talent. So what you do at a country level, you need to do at a continent level.
So tell us how you became a continent talent, though you were working in a country.
Okay, that's tricky as well. And I think it goes back to the conversation around capacity. It gets to a point in your life where you develop yourself so much that your current audience becomes too small for you. Not because you say they are small, but because a larger crowd feels, you know what you're doing for these small people, you can do at a larger scale. And that capacity building is a function of consistent, intentional, disciplined development. So if I use an example of what I used to do, so I used to design learning, I was a learning consultant here, I used to support a group of people up to, a few thousands of people in the organization I worked. Now, someone estimated that the same thing I do for, let's say, 2,000 people and one country, if I do the same thing with the same energy, the same discipline, with the same seriousness, at a continent level, I'll get even a better result.
Okay.
The person thought, you know what, I'll give you the opportunity to do that. And after that has happened, and I look after a global portfolio now. Someone else thought, you know what, you do this at a continent level, you can actually do it at a bigger level. So let's give you a bigger opportunity. So it's the principle of be faithful in the little you have, and more will be given to you. And that's a story of capacity building.
Okay. Be faithful with what you are doing.
Exactly.
And then you'll be given the opportunity
To do much more.
to do much more. We're in church.
Yes.
You are a pastor.
Yes.
I am a pastor. They are allegedly Christians. Where is God in the midst of all this? Okay? From your own personal experience, I wanted to show us, how did your relationship with God, your faith in God, how did it affect your ability to develop your capacity?
And it's a true question, not a trick one. There are 4 aspects to a man's life, a woman's life: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And the first 3 revolve around the last one, spiritual. So the core, the fulcrum, the axis around which my entire life revolves is God. So God is not a role player. God is the player. I literally just follow him and follow his instruction and his leading in everything that I do. Some of the things that I did and people saw that was great, I didn't even know I was supposed to do them in the first place. There were things I did because I got an inclination, the leading of the Spirit, to do them.
Okay, wait. You develop training materials to help people get better on their job.
Exactly.
So when God comes to you, he's not just teaching you who Melchizedek is. God is telling you how to develop solutions
Exactly.
for people.
Exactly.
So the people that promote you don't know anything about your God.
They don't know what has happened between me and God.
What they are saying is
the
what
result.
you are producing by virtue of your relationship with God.
God, exactly.
So you are saying God talks about business.
All the time. All the time. If you have a relationship with God, he's not going to converse about evangelism only. Or perhaps he will converse about evangelism at a more strategic level. You know, people think God is very operational. I agree. He's so close to you. Yes, he's very strategic. God has a bird's eye view of the whole world.
Okay.
When he thinks about Harry, he's not thinking about Harry in the context of Harry alone. He's thinking about Harry in the context of everyone that will listen to Harry. So if he's going to give me a word, he won't give me a word for just myself. He's going to give me a word for people that will listen to me. Because he's not just concerned about me, he's concerned about people that will listen to me as well. So God is elevated and has an helicopter view of everybody, as it were. So when he converses with you, he's more interested in his will being done. And he gives you things that will make his will to be done. And one of his major part of his will is that people are blessed. So when he gives me those ideas and I implement, I know that I might not see it around me, but eventually it's going to land somewhere great. And it's that greatness that people see and people promote me. So I'm just an instrument. But because you can't promote God, right? You promote his instrument. Exactly. So, and anyone can take that to anywhere, to the business world, to the workplace, to the marketplace. Just use God's principle in whatever you do. God doesn't get paid for that. God doesn't get, if you give God, you probably give him 10%, right? God gets you paid for the gifts and the tips and the insight it gives you about your own business.
Can we say one of the major ways God blesses us is by giving us solutions
Absolutely.
to trade with?
Exactly.
Okay. There's a very interesting question here to probably change our direction, but I think it's good. Today's wives want to chase their dreams, but sometimes it could be difficult where the wife's vision is not according to the timing or condition the husband wants. how should a couple resolve the need to move in one direction?
So this presupposes that this couple initially did not articulate their visions and agree on their goals. So they have division. So they started off on a very wrong footing.
Okay.
One of the things that needs to be discussed before marriage, before wedding day actually, is what is your vision, what is my vision, where do I want to get to, where do you want to get to? And both of them should be able to support themselves to achieve whatever they want to achieve.
We're in a generation that will skip all of that
And just get
because
married.
getting married in and of itself
Is
is
an
a
end.
major achievement.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
I get you.
So we would cross the river, or cross the bridge when we get to the river.
When we get to the river.
We'll talk about all these details. Let's just marry first.
And that's a major challenge, Pastor Shego. The fact that the man now feels, because the only picture of marriage that he has in his head is perhaps his father's marriage. And the mother stayed at home all the time. And the mother had to let go of her own dreams and visions to support the man by staying at home. Then he says, this is what it should be. And he goes, but my mother, my father's marriage is perfect. They never quarreled, they never fought. Actually, you were not there when they did, but that's fine. But if you look at it very well, if someone says the woman shouldn't pursue her purpose, then the question is, does the person believe in purpose? If the person believes in purpose, then the person should know that God gives his children purpose, right? Then if you are the only one that should have the purpose, are you saying your wife is not God's child? And if your wife is not God's child, why did you marry her? Because whether the person is even born again or not, a woman has got a purpose. I think what needs to be done at that stage is both of them sit down and do an alignment session. Strategy alignment session. This is what you want to achieve. This is what I want to achieve. Where do we need to compromise so that we can balance things out? My wife, for instance, didn't do anything in the line of what she wants to do for 8 years because of me. Why? Because she was pregnant, and I was the cause of that. I have to be the cause of that, but I was the cause of that. We would travel from one location to the other. We moved from Port Harcourt to Lagos. At some point, I was working in another country. I came back to Nigeria, and I would move to South Africa. And every time she had to move, I was moving within my career. She had to stop something to start afresh. Honestly, it is my commitment now to make sure she achieves everything she wants to achieve. She gave me 8 years. I'm going to give her the rest of my life.
So, yeah, it's a good place to clap. No, let's pause and clap there. Let's pause and clap there. Let's pause and clap there.
So even when I go around and I speak and I do this, she's still supporting me because she's taking care of the children. These days, I try to intentionally ask her to do something just so that she can feel fulfilled. Because what you don't want, no matter how rich, happy you are as a man, is a woman at the end of the day that is frustrated, not because of any other thing, but because of you. I don't think you will have done a great service. I'm saying that I will have to compromise. She will have to compromise. Now she's with the kids, I'm traveling. It means that I need to get to a point in my life where I can stay at home with the kids as well. And she travels to fulfill her own dream.
But let's turn it around.
All right.
It's always convenient when we say it the way you've said it. But when it is the man that has to take the back seat while the woman is making progress.
It's tough.
First and foremost, talk to that man. Is it normal? Because society says you're not. You understand? Your wife has traveled, you are the one. So, around here we have this problem. Everybody has, this is what society expects. So most men that even want to support their wife feel there's something wrong
when they do that.
When she's the one in front and I am the one supporting. What do you have to say to such a man?
Because there's nothing wrong with it. I think, yes, the Bible says the wife is helpmate. But I think if you really look at that, the man should also be helpmate. And these days we have the concept of stay-at-home dad. I don't know if it's not yet popular in Nigeria.
No, around here, no, not yet.
But I know someone, I hope the person is not watching, that the husband pretty much stays at home with the kids, and she does. So it's like me. So she's like me, but the husband is like at home. And the husband is not even like my wife, because my wife is very busy in church. She's a researcher, a scientist, but this person just stays at home. Now, I think they get more done by doing that. Because if the man starts saying, if the man lives in this kind of environment where people are putting him under pressure, the only thing he will do is leave his responsibilities and start fighting the woman. Because it's not as if there are jobs everywhere where you can get, a man can always get a job better than a woman. It's not like that, right? So if the woman has a better job and you want to be better than your wife, then you ask her to resign. And people have done that in the past. Then you earn less money, right? You're living on your meager salary. You can't have the things you used to have. Because of what? That's not pride. That's prouding. That's something else. So as a man, I'll say to you, please don't get caught up with these things people talk about. I'm not saying don't be responsible. Be responsible. But should it be that is a woman that is up there, support the woman. And a wise woman, the Bible says, builds her own home.
Yeah.
The wise woman will still learn what her mothers learned. Yes. How to give the money to the man to be the one spending it. If that's what you have to do. But balance it. There's really nothing wrong in your wife. And there was a season in my life where I didn't have so much. Now my wife bakes, right? It was the money from all those baking things that we spent, right? That time I did. If money is about the man, then that makes her the man, right? No. At that time, we had needs, and the money she made provided for the family. If my money is our money, then our own money is our money.
Now, the way it works in my head, is this. For you to be, the wife is the helpmate, right?
Absolutely.
For you to help me, you should
have to
be
be
stronger than I am.
And that is it. Exactly.
For you to help me, you should be stronger than I am.
Exactly.
So it's possible for a woman to be stronger than a man,
of course,
in certain regards.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's financial.
Sometimes it's financial.
Sometimes it's intellectual.
Sometimes it's spiritual. Let's just be honest with ourselves. There are 8 parts to every human's life. You cannot be excellent across the 8. In fact, if you are excellent across 4, and then your wife is not excellent in other areas, it means your life is imbalanced. The real financial director in my house is my wife. He's the one that checks everything. Do we have to buy it? I am the buyer. You know? And honestly, I'm the pastor. But honestly, I must say, and I'm acknowledging on TV, not like, it's live actually, live TV, that sometimes I feel she's more spiritual than I am. Because she picks some things I have not picked, and she tells me I picked this. And I go back to pray and I pick it. Then I'm wondering, why did she pick it first? Honestly, it doesn't matter who picked it first. What matters, somebody picks it.
We pick it.
If she picks it, it's we.
Bible says submitting one to another.
Another in love.
So that's acknowledging the fact that it's possible that you get it first.
Exactly.
And then the man is, I think the word head is part of what has confused the years. I think we should use the word, the man is the leader.
Exactly.
And leadership is getting things done through others.
Not doing things.
Not doing things. So leading my home does not mean I am bringing all the money.
No.
But I can be fixing the person and leading the person to bring all the money.
Exactly.
And my money
is our
money. You know, hallelujah. Yeah. All right. We have so many questions now. Let's just take them one after the other.
Okay.
This person says, what is your belief on the 10,000 hours rule for becoming great at a thing? Does this work even where there is no talent to begin with? I don't know what it means.
Yeah, that's this book, Outliers. That's Outliers. And I believe in it.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking. I don't believe it must be 10,000 hours, but I believe in the principle. And if you say that, does it work if there's no talent at all? There's no time that there's no talent. Every time you think someone doesn't have a talent, you're saying God didn't create the person perfectly. And that's not true. Everyone has got a talent. The question is, do you know the talent or not? 10,000 hours works best. In fact, 10,000 hours is the principle. You see, remember the formula: strength equal to talent plus knowledge plus skill. 10,000 hours is the skill part. It's building skill. So the likes of Tiger Woods played with his father for a long time. He built skill. You know, skill is what you build when, you know, those days you drive your car and you are not really looking, but you make a turn into your house. Is you've trained your brain so much. You've trained so much that you're skillful at navigating through your neighborhood into your house. That's what happens with, I mean, for me, speaking is that, right? If you wake me up at night, I will speak on any subject. The depth is another conversation, but I will speak on anything. What's his name? Outlier. Malcolm Gladwell. What Malcolm Gladwell is talking about is, and I believe, making sure you give sufficient time to fine-tuning your skill and be very good at it. And what he's also saying is, fine-tuning it means that you can only focus on one thing at a time. Another challenge people have, especially with capacity building, is people try to do everything. Do you guys know that someone like Messi can play keyboard?
Lionel Messi.
Lionel Messi plays piano.
Okay.
I've seen a video where he was playing piano. But you don't know him as a pianist, do you? It's because his 10,000 hours is given to playing football. So yes, there will be things you can do, but you cannot be master at everything. We were not created to multitask in everything. It's a facade to say you can do this, you can do this, you can do that. You are best when you focus on your strength. As a matter of fact, neurologically, everything you focus on grows. So the more focus you give on something, the better and the more it grows.
Let the women say amen. Multitasking is not virtuous. All right. Okay. In this age of artificial intelligence and technology disruption, how do you evolve when your skill and strength is being taken over by technology?
Get new skills. So I think, and this same question, someone asked me on Friday, just on Friday, like, okay, you know what, machines and all these things are taking our jobs and taking all this stuff. If you look at the future skills as listed by World Economic Forum, you see things like creativity, innovation, digital acumen. Now, if AI, artificial intelligence, is taking over the job, have you forgotten there was someone that wrote the script? AIs don't exist in vacuum. Someone wrote the program. Someone did the coding.
Yeah.
And one of the future skills people need to have these days is also coding.
Coding, yeah.
Right? Creativity. Yes, you can have artificial intelligence organize concerts, right? You still want to listen to your favorite artist sing. So there are a lot of skills that cannot be taken away. I think it's a facade to think it will take those skills away. Now watch this. Jobs can be taken away. Skills are different. And the real currency for the future are skills.
Okay. This person says, how does grit influence capacity?
How does what?
Grit. Essentially resilience.
Oh, okay,
grit.
Okay, grit, okay.
How does it influence capacity? Is there a relationship between the two?
Yeah, sure. I'll say that you just need to keep at it. When you have to grow yourself, grow your capacity, things won't come that easy. So you need to keep at it. And there's certain things you need to do. I always say that the reason people struggle with growing their capacity, the real hindrances are full container, closed container, and small container.
Let's take that again.
Full container, closed container, and small container. So let's take a fish, for instance. Yes, the size of the container does not really determine the size of the fish. But the size of the container determines the concentration of nitrate that affects whether a fish will grow or not. Because if nitrate is too much, the fish will not grow. The concentration, the size of the container determines how clean the water will be, which can, in essence, also stunt the growth of the fish. In terms of a closed container, if the fish is in a closed, actually the aquariums are not always very closed, but if the aquarium is fully closed, eventually the fish will die. Then the last one, which is the full container. So the small one is the first one where
Okay.
you can change the word up. Then I've talked about the closed one. The full container is this. The issue with the full container is you cannot build more capacity if you don't have space to take more things in. So people must let go of useless content.
Useless content.
In fact, I call them useful but useless content. Sometimes they are useful in a context, but the context of your life and your dream and your vision, they are useless. So yes, I can know about mechanics and I can learn to fix cars. I can learn to do that. But if I spend all my time gaining knowledge about fixing cars, the only thing I'll be telling you here is about cars. But it's good knowledge to have. So it's useful, but to my destiny and where I'm going to, it's useless. So you must know how to, identify knowledge that way and unpack it that way. So I tell people, avoid a situation where you are too full as a container, where you think you know so much. Avoid a situation where you are too closed, where you can't access more information and resources, and people are closed for several reasons. Some people are proud. Let's go on. Then avoid situations where your container is small. So find every opportunity to always expand your container. If you have a small aquarium, try to put your fish in a pool, in something bigger. Expose yourself to bigger people. There are people I seek to have conversations with all the time because there are some things I want to know that they have. You can't continue, like they say, to talk with the same people. No matter how much value they are giving you, your capacity will not grow, especially if they are not growing. So you must get out of a small pool of water. You must get out of a small container.
I think there's a train of thought that I want us to lay our hands on. You've told us now to grow our capacity, we need to increase knowledge.
Exactly, development.
You've said something now, to grow capacity, we need to intentionally expand our network.
Exactly.
Okay, so for those who are taking notes, those
That
are
will help, exactly.
two powerful keys. All right, this next question says, success is sometimes hard to deal with. After you expand your capacity and become successful, how do you curtail your capacity to derail because of the trappings of life? Or the trappings of life, I guess.
Derail.
I mean, a good
That's
example.
a very tough question.
No, a very good
I don't
example is
understand.
broke people are naturally monogamous.
Oh, okay, I get you.
You have to have money.
To be able to explore.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, I know some poor people also explore. Well, but,
That was in the days of our fathers.
yeah.
In today now, no money,
No exploration.
no exploits.
No money, no exploits.
No money, no exploits.
I think.
But on a serious note, there are people that were on a journey.
Yes.
Maybe the guy's dream was to probably, maybe build a conglomerate of businesses and all that. And then he suddenly finds himself now the branch manager of a bank with an official residence, 2 vacations, okay, and suddenly that becomes his life.
I get you.
He's not studying anymore. He's not reading. He's not writing any exams anymore. He's not seeking any certification. He's not buying shares so that he can buy the bank that he dreamt of owning.
Yeah.
And we are in a society that tells you have arrived just when
you.
you begin to have some of these things. You have a car, you have your own house, you have kids who are going to an expensive school, and you just, the question is why? Why should I kill myself?
I think the key thing is discipline, right? The key thing is discipline. And I was speaking about strategy today, and strategy is long-term. So everyone must have a long-term vision. And the true test of your vision is that you can keep your eyes on it. It's compelling enough. If you think your vision is to have a car and have a house, God bless you. When you have a car and you have a house, what you're telling us, you're ready to die. Because you're done, right? But if you really want to keep going, and yes, you've achieved some success, it is the same principle that brought you to where you are that will take you there. It's the principle of discipline and staying on course. And as a matter of fact, I doubt if you're really focused on achieving that you will be sidetracked by the little successes that you get. By the way, don't just leave them. Celebrate them. Be happy when you get them. So yes, you're going on a path to owning multinationals, and now you own a multi-state business. Take a pause, celebrate, appreciate, thank people that helped you, and then go next to the other one. The main thing that will help you keep you going is the commitment to your vision and discipline to see it through. And discipline is very easy to talk about, but tough to really execute. What I look for accountability partners. And that's the role of mentors. That's why your mentor must be someone that has passed where you want to get to. So every time you see them, you have fire to keep going. The truth is, if your mentor has only achieved part of the things you want to achieve, the moment you are as big as your mentor, there's no need to follow them anymore. That's why you need to find someone that has something. And it's not always money. People think it's about having, it's not always, you're someone that's done something, achieved something that you need to achieve, that keeps you going. Every time you discuss with them, there's so much to get. I agree, there are times when it looks like you're now bigger than your mentors. But it's in context. You can have money more than your mentors, but your influence might not be as big as your mentors. Yeah. So those are the things to put into play. But discipline, commitment to your vision will keep you going.
All right. This person says the word incompetence, that is lack of capacity, is commonly used at places of work or by organizations. As an HR person whose responsibility is to ensure their staff members, that is new employees, are competent on the job, is it possible for an organization to employ an incompetent person for a job or be placed in a department he or she lacks capacity to function and expect them to perform optimally?
Well, so if the answer is yes, it's possible, because that happens where people hire people for some other reasons other than why they should hire them, and now people are struggling to perform on their role, and then the struggle is the manager starts insulting them that you're not performing, you're incompetent and all of that. But it's not the fault of the person, it's the fault of the organization, which is why every job is profiled and every job has got competencies required to deliver them successfully. So yes, when someone is coming in, you want to find out that the person has the same competencies. Chances are that, yes, the competencies have been articulated, but they were just wished away. So people conjure words in job descriptions, and then hope that it will deliver the value. So where that has happened, and after a while you realize that all the things you listed in the job spec are actually not the things needed, and you've hired the person, there's an issue. But there's only one simple way to deal with that. Every time there's a knowledge gap, every time there's a skill gap, every time there's a capacity gap, training can fill that. So that is where learning and development comes in. I look at a role. The individual is not performing at an optimal level. We can say, what are the competencies required to deliver this role successfully? How many of those competencies and to what proficiency level does the individual have them? And then we say, what are the gaps? Then what can we do to bridge that gap? So yes, it's possible. But the blame is not entirely the individual's blame. The blame is on both sides.
So after the organization does that, and the person is still not performing optimally,
fire them.
Okay. You heard that in church? Yes. All right.
Because, maybe before you fire them, check your processes and your systems. So sometimes you give people skills, but the systems don't enable the skills from really being used, right? So if your systems is okay, everything is perfect, and they are misfit, show them the door.
In your experience, how long do you think that process should take?
It depends on the job function.
Okay.
It depends on the job function. And when we say fire them, so you can't just fire people overnight as well. It depends on the regulation and all that. So you can't just say go without proving that this person is incompetent. So what organizations do is to make sure they put them on what they call performance improvement process, where they try to see if they can remedy the situation. And they give them a period of time, they put a lot of initiatives in place, and they hope for a change. A number of times there's a change. At other times, you know what? You just realize that it's not because the person is a bad person, they're just a misfit here. So they can move to other roles, or they can actually leave the organization.
Okay. I want us to quickly address this. This person says, you did not fully answer the question on relocating to fulfill our potential. Help me, please, make a decision.
If you're trying to relocate, okay. I don't think that should be the intention, to relocate to fulfill your dreams. Because you want to just leave your country and go to Libya or go to another place to Libya.
Nobody wants to go to Libya. No. Let's do it this way. Let's look at it like this. The impression the average Nigerian has is that things are not working here. And that things
Work elsewhere.
are working elsewhere. And I know I have potential. And I know a lot of people sitting here today and watching us online feel like this. We know what we can do. All right? But there are no opportunities here. And there are no systems. I will tell you personally, I believe that for so many of the young people watching and listening to us now, the Nigerian education system has failed them. Okay? Our system is so broken now that you cannot even guarantee that the fact that a person has gone through the university, the person is prepared enough to be fit for employment. We have graduates that cannot write letters. And they got a certificate from a Nigerian university. Okay. So there are people saying, look, I know what I can do. And they have examples to show, maybe you are not one of them, of people that they were on the same level with, and then the person leaves for another country, okay, and because the systems are working, the person is better off. The person is trained. Let me be frank with you. Most of the people that are getting the best jobs study abroad.
Yeah.
And it's
clearly.
not just that the employers just want a foreign degree, but they've come to find out that these ones seem to be able to do the job. So there's this hunger in the heart of the average young Nigerian. If I go to another place, I will be better developed. I would probably get job. I would be able to work. All right. But only 20% that can escape, actually.
Exactly. You know where I was going, Pastor Shagun? Where I was going is the environment is not enabling. Yes. And I want to believe the reason people want to travel to other countries is because the systems are better, the environment is enabling. But honestly, in some of these countries also, that's not exactly the truth.
Okay.
That's not exactly the truth. I think a lot of times we look at the percentage of people who left and came back with a lot of resources. And some people who went to school abroad and came back, and now they can get those jobs. Now, the ones that were able to study abroad, I promise you they paid the school fees. And yes, you can say they worked there, but they didn't also disappear there, right? They made the money from somewhere. Well, except they stole the money. They got it from here before
the
they
ones
go.
that still don't even...
They don't even go
They
and
don't
do
go
that.
to
Thank you. Now they go to school and come back. So I'm saying that you need to really, and see, people's paths in life are different. I did all, well, not all. So I've studied abroad now, but most of my education happened here. I attended a public primary school, attended a public secondary school, attended a public university.
Which?
Ilorin, University of Ilorin. It's a federal university, right?
So the certificate you were working with before you were hired by the parent body was the one from University of Ilorin?
Even the one that was, when I was hired by the parents' body was my University of Ilorin certificate.
Okay.
And there are many people like that as well. Where I'm not saying the environment is very enabling, I'm saying a lot of times we don't look at the core of the matter. People look at things at the surface and they make decisions. I'm saying, yes, you want to go abroad, but why don't you evaluate your options well? There's a gentleman that was coming to South Africa, and I got to know along the line. I actually knew the day he was flying out of Lagos. And he arrived at the South African immigration, and they called me. So they said, so do you know this person? Oh, no, I know him. So he gave them my name, Pastor this, Pastor that. So the lady called me Pastor Harry, good morning, sir. That was 5:30 a.m. You know when South African airline gets there. So do you know this gentleman? I said, I know him. They asked me, what is his surname? I didn't know. Because when they told me about him, they told me his first name. He's a brother in church. He's coming to South Africa. And then he came. I was so embarrassed in my life. Now, this guy didn't have anything he was coming to do. He was hoping things would shift. There's another man that came. This guy played for us, played drum for us at our very first service in January 2014, our pre-service that we started before inauguration. And he was one of the people that I believe I mentioned to that, you know what, if this place is not for you, go back home. I saw him a few days ago in Abuja. In fact, no, before I saw him in Abuja, he came back to SA. They came for a recording. And this time he didn't come because he was coming to stay for 3 months and hoping his paper will change. They actually came to do their recording. He came like a big boy. But he came back to Nigeria. There are 2 other guys. One was selling peanuts in South Africa to live. Yes. Okay, groundnut. Epa. This guy was one of the guys we spoke to and said, you know what, if this is not for you, it's okay to go back to Nigeria. He's back, he's doing well. Another guy is a fashion designer. He's back in he's in Ife. He's back and doing well. So what I'm saying is, and you can say, okay, maybe they were exposed to some things there, but what they were exposed to is not anything compared to the suffering they went through. I'm saying you can go anywhere you want to go to, but make sure it's the right place for you. And don't have a grasshopper mentality of running away. If you are here and there's something you can make for yourself, stay. If you run away, you will keep running. As a matter of fact, the guys that go to South Africa is often not their destination. Their destination is Australia or Canada. They hope to get their papers in South Africa, get some more paper. And how do you get your papers in 1 year without doing fraudulent stuff? Do you want to tell me it's God leading you to do that as well? So I think people need to explore their options well before you go there. By all means. Do you know right now, even in Nigeria, you can get foreign certificates? You can do programs on Coursera, complete and pay as little as 20,000 to get some certificates. In the IT world, as long as you know what you do and you get a certification, someone will hire you to do it. So that there's a lot of opportunities out there. And I'm saying, if you have to, go to the UK to study, or go to the US, or go to South Africa, go. But do not go because you're running away. You will keep running. And you don't want to keep running.
Do not go because you are running away.
Exactly.
All right. By the way, I won't be able to take all the questions. And I also noticed some people have been sending in comments. You can go to the feed on Facebook, the live stream on Facebook, and drop a comment, but we'll take just questions. All right. Where do you see Nigeria in 25 years? Under what conditions do you think we, the labor force / entrepreneurs, can make Nigeria become a technology, innovation, and economic leader in the world?
The land is green, people. The land is green. And I think whoever wrote this question must have also thought about this, that it's the entrepreneurs, it's the career people that can change things.
Yeah.
And if every one of us decide to change the sphere of our influence, eventually the things will really change. I know that very soon we'll start having people who mean business in changing this country, contesting for political offices, and they will win. In Jesus' name. Because when they do, there will be real changes. But you see, 25 years is a long time. We can start changing now. And by all means, you want to run away. Some people are dying to come to Nigeria. I need you to know that. It might not be there yet, but let's just keep continuing. Let's keep doing whatever we are doing well. I know people that want to come to Nigeria. Some of them just want to come and visit. Yes, our people do all sorts of things outside the country. There are people who do great stuff outside the country, and people are seeing them. If everyone in this room, if everyone watching on the internet, you can own your space, develop yourself, and be the best you can be. Do you know how much shift? You know how much you can move the dial in this country? Now, our music is played almost everywhere in Africa. I was in few countries in Africa this year, and every car that took me from the airport to the hotel played a Nigerian song. Every car. In fact, there were instances where there's a particular song they play. There's a particular person's song they play over and over again. For the first time in a few years ago, in 2015, entertainment contributed to the growth, to the GDP of Nigeria. It means that things will evolve if we keep doing the right thing. Do you know that technology will soon start contributing massively to it? If Mark Zuckerberg didn't see that Andela is doing anything great, he wouldn't invest $24 million. Yeah. And to Andela, I believe, $24 million. The co-founder of Andela is a Yoruba boy. things are shifting. Let's just not stop. We can't give up on this country. Let's just keep pushing. 25 years, I believe Nigeria will be a great country. I so believe it.
Thank you so much. I know this person is trying to cause trouble, so I don't know if I should allow the person to cause trouble or not. I'll probably ask you maybe 2 or more questions after this. This will be the last one.
Is that a trouble question?
I think so. Should we accommodate?
Let's accommodate.
A bit of trouble?
Yeah.
This person says, if you do not pay your tithe, are you freezing your capacity to succeed?
I should have said you shouldn't read it.
No, you can choose not to answer.
No, I'll actually answer.
Amendment.
I'll actually answer.
Okay.
I'll answer. And I'll answer differently.
Okay.
For me, your tithe is an act of worship. Because when Abraham gave a tithe of all to Melchizedek, it was an act of worship. If you're saying you won't pay your tithe, and you say you really love God, I start doubting your love. If the only time we struggle with God is when you have to pay your tithe, I just wonder what the issue is here. My view is this. I don't think God doesn't like you, and we tie your life because you didn't pay your tithe. But I think there are certain things you cannot get if you don't pay it. And those things are the secret things that really make things happen. Let me tell you, for a lot of shift I've gotten in my life, I have seen in the place of worship and prayer. For many of them, I sow seeds. Even the people you think are in the world and they don't pay tithe, they don't do stuff, you do not know the altar they worship. And I notice it's becoming spiritual, but it is spiritual because everything revolves around spiritual. I used to have a boss. On his table is an image of Buddha. You think that doesn't mean something to him? When you pay your tithe, is a covenant you're enacting. And for me, that's what it represents. So we shouldn't even be discussing it.
Okay, let's do it this way. Since we've gone to that area, this is the challenge for, I think, the average Nigerian youth. Success is defined as
Money.
Getting what you want. The average Nigerian has a challenge with, look, I want something and I don't have it. Over the years, people have been told that if you want something that you don't have, God
will give
it to you. Okay? For God to give it to you, these are the conditions. And tithing happens to be one of them.
Okay.
So the Nigerian youth is saying, look at that person. He does not even have a relationship with God. Not to talk of paying tithe.
And yet things are
And he is successful because success is,
money.
I have a good life. I drive a nice car. I live in a good house. I think the way it should be is this. If success is material things, if success is becoming comfortable, you don't need to be a Christian to succeed.
Exactly.
If that is success.
Absolutely.
When you become a child of God, the definition of success changes. It becomes what God designed me for. It becomes, I want what I want the way God wants me to want it.
Yes, sir.
Then the principles of God come in.
Exactly.
So there are people,
tithing is part of.
which tithing now happens to be a part of. So there are people that have material success without a relationship with God.
Yes.
But there is a lot that God contributes that they don't have. Those things are not on the table for discussion.
Exactly.
The peace of mind, the supernatural health, okay, the happy homes that we have because of our relationship with God.
Yes.
And like you have said, tithing is not transactional.
It's not.
Tithing is a response.
Absolutely.
It is an act of worship. If you don't worship God, then you are not even in the conversation.
Exactly.
Okay? And what God gives is not the reason for our relationship with God. Because when all of this is over, what we get and what we did not get is not even part of the discussion.
Absolutely.
Good. Now, the question I want to ask as we round up is this. So there's this person who wants to go into 2018 saying, you know what? I believe I can be better than this.
Yes.
I believe I can achieve much more than I am currently achieving. Okay? In 2 minutes, tell that person what to do.
I think everything starts from the mind. And if you really want to build that capacity in 2018, thank you, you need to shift everything from your mind. I often talk about the neurological makeup of the mind, the neurons and everything. When you take a particular action over and over again, excuse me, you take a particular action over and over again, or you think about something over and over again, you create a neural pathway in your mind for the same type of imagination. Your action also engages the neurons that deals with that. So you can easily change your action by changing your imagination. If you really want to cause a shift next year, you must start looking at, number one, what you allow into your mind. What I call the front door. Entry, that's the E. What you allow into your mind must be things that will help you grow. Only things that will help you grow. There are people I don't listen to. Either they talk to me one-on-one, or I don't even play their tapes because they sound small to where I'm going. There are people I will pay any amount to go see just because I want to hear their wisdom. So that front door must be open only to people and to things that will cause you to shift. And if you want to change your life in 2018, you must start doing that now. The second thing, you must open the back door, the exit. For everything you are full of, every mess in your life, you must let them go. Every myth, every philosophy that you've come to believe, every limiting thoughts and belief you have till date, you must consciously, intentionally let them go. Open the back door and let them exit. You know why? Because if you don't do that, you are still full, but you are full of mess. And for you to deal with a mess, you need to step out of it. I tell people the balcony and the dancing floor. The balcony and the dancing floor. For you to thoroughly shift your life, you need to get out of the dancing floor. Get on the balcony, have a full view of your life, and pick things you want to throw away. Some of them are tangible things, some of them are just imaginary things. There are things I've learned. I'm currently unlearning them. There are things I know that I'm trying not to know anymore. So what I do, I make sure that I'm not exposed to them at all, so they don't get reminded, to me, and I just do them. So you need to exit. The third thing is entertainment. I call it your lounge. There are times you don't have a choice of what gets into you. Don't entertain them. Be selective in terms of what you allow to stay on your heart against 2018. Be very selective. There are people that speak to me because I don't have a choice. I literally delete those things when I step away. I literally delete. There are people that speak to me, they only speak 2 words, and I keep thinking about those 2 words over and over and over and over again. There are people, I told you I've traveled, okay, I don't know if I spoke somewhere this morning. There was a year I traveled severally to meet someone. And every time I traveled to meet him, we only spoke for 25 minutes. I can tell you almost word for word the things he told me then. That was in 2009. Because those things shaped my life. You want to change your life in 2018? Change your mind. Change your mind from thinking your blessing is location-based. I believe they say your location is in your location. I also believe the blessing is upon the man. Anywhere you go, as long as you are led to go there, you should be blessed there. So please, start with your mind. For 2018, just go home, check your library. The books that are not supposed to be there, throw them away. Check the people you hang out with. I'm not saying throw your friends away, but there are people you don't need to listen to. Stop listening to them. Stop allowing them to inform what you do. everything you focus on grows.
Yeah.
So if you focus on, and you know how you focus? You focus with your mind. If you focus on values, if you focus on success, if you focus on possibilities, if you focus on developing yourself, you will just grow naturally. Every man that is serious about changing his life must first change his mind.
Amen. Thank you so much. I'm sure we've been blessed today. Let's appreciate Pastor Harry.